some question time. Pete?
How does, by what power does Atman stay untainted by its contents? I see that it is the case, but how does that happen?
No, it doesn't happen. It's just, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Existence is existence. Okay, watch this. Remote is. Pen is. Notepad is. Cap is. Lid is. Paper is. Okay, what just happened? I changed the names and the forms, did I not? But what remained the same? Isness. So while I was holding the remote, and then I put the remote down and then I showed you the pen, was the isness, that is existence, that is Atma, still contaminated by the remote, considering you were seeing the pen? No. Because I showed you remote is, boom, Atma's free. Pen is, boom, Atma's free. Paper is, boom, Atma's free. If Atma was not free, then I would show you the remote, and then I would say remote is, and then I would say pen is, notepad is, lid, and so on, right? And you would see one over the other. But that's not your experience, is it? No. Whatever I put, the form changes, but the isness, sat chit, remains free. So, how is that possible? You just witnessed it yourself. It needs no explanation. You just proved it to yourself. Isness always remains free. Because it's its nature. Its nature is what? Ananda, limitless. This is called the direct nature of existence. And because it is limitless, nothing can limit it. So what does limitless means? It means that it remains free of limitation. If it wasn't free of limitation, then as I said, then whatever was present in it, it would leave a trace and you could not get rid of it. Right? It would have like another overlay of other objects, but that's not your experience. That's why it's limitless. It means free of anything that can limit it. Because it remains limited now, doesn't it, in this form? But what about now? Where is it? It's gone. Okay, next.
I'm going to comment to make. So you were saying that everything is Brahman.
Yeah.
Names and the form changes. But as a wise person, we also have to acknowledge that vasanas exist. And we have to deal with them.
You have to acknowledge?
Vasanas.
Vasanas.
Of course, I did not, because remember the vasanas are a different order of reality, so they still keep going, right? But the vasanas, you can't extinguish all vasanas, by the way. You can only extinguish sufficient amount not to constantly extrovert the mind to out. But a wise person also has vasanas. I mean, we're talking about conditions of the brain which were formed from day one, like hardwired patterns in the brain. Like often what happens is, very common is, one gains knowledge, self-knowledge, and it assimilates into actuality, right? But they still have childhood issues from their early years. Because they were grown up in an abusive family, or family just didn't know how to love properly, then even if they go, I am free, I am Atma, even then there's still what? A different order of reality operating, at least while the body's alive. So this order of reality is including those vasanas. And how does a ignorant person deal with these problems versus a wise person? How does an unwise deal with this versus a wise person? The unwise person deals with their problems by taking it personally. So they say, if I am not free of this condition, I am not free, right? So they need to go and do things to get rid of it, because they're dependent, their identity this condition of love, of self-love, is defining their identity. So it's bothering them a lot. So they can't not address it. They have to address it. However, a wise person still has the same problem, but only what? Recognizes that this condition of lack of love belongs to a different order of reality. It just belongs to one more body out of billions of bodies in this world. So a wise person can still address it, right? It's not a problem to address. You can still address your issues, but it's just not so identified with it. Okay?
Because an unwise person will externalize that cause and effect back to them and blame other entities, whereas a wise person would internalize that and realize it's their perception that's actually the part that needs to change.
That's right. Yeah.
Because you have to get rid of vasanas to get moksha.
Sorry?
To achieve moksha, you have to get rid of this bundle of vasanas.
That leads to your karma.
I know there's two schools. I know both schools. Chinmaya's school will often emphasize getting rid of many vasanas. In fact, all of them. I don't know if that's how it's interpreted. The answer is no. One cannot get rid of all vasanas because it can't physiologically happen. It's impossible. So that's why I say you can only get rid of enough vasanas, at least those ones which are causing a lot of distraction from assimilating knowledge. Okay, so we have to be real about it.
That's the old Buddhist conundrum about desire, trying to give up all desire. Because if you're really trying to give up all desire, at some point that's a desire to give up desire.
Yeah.
Is it helpful to refer to a... Sorry, go for it.
What I would like to say is maybe later on in the Gita it would come out on how a wise man transacts in this world.
Yeah.
Does it come up in the later chapters?
No, we just talked about it now.
No, we're talking here about how the mind-body will react into a wise person once who has gained this knowledge. We've talked about how their perception in the world changes, but in the actual day-to-day activities, how a wise person would then transact in this world, having gained this knowledge.
Yeah, okay. Actually, there was a verse, I did this last year, the answer to that question, but I'll do it from this session. Remember the example I used of a wise person looks at a bangle form and treats the bangle differently from a necklace. Yeah. So let's suppose that somebody's being extremely rude, in the
transaction.
In a transaction, and the wise person finds themselves there, right? So, is it going to make any sense for the wise person to go, no, it's all love. Come here, my child. Let me hug you, right? Is that going to be appropriate?
No.
That means the wise person has to deal exactly the same as any other person would to handle the situation.
So does that, because the confusion comes in then, is, are you reacting, I'm not saying, are you reacting now at the mind level? Are you operating from the mind level, or are you operating from the level of Atman and Brahman?
Well, that's the thing, that there isn't any level of Brahman, is it? Because the mind doesn't do, I guess.
No, but
we keep on wanting to
that's the subtle difference.
Okay.
Because that confusion comes when I am in a difficult situation. Then I can think, am I reacting at the mind level?
But like Lloyd said,
is it an emotional reaction to this situation, or am I reacting with this self-knowledge level on transaction in the world?
You're going to respond or react, as you say, according to your tendencies, according to your vasanas. the real issue that you're attaining here is your awareness of allowing yourself to respond and being aware of that response.
No,
And then-
No, I get your point. I just want to draw this out for you,
Yeah.
to map this out.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're speaking of person. We'll draw you here. Yep. And we'll put this. We'll call this mind level. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
And then you also said, am I operating from the mind level or from the Atma level?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's say I'm in a difficult situation.
Okay, Atma. Now the problem with drawing is this is going to imply that Atma is apart from. There's two different
Atma
orders.
doesn't do.
Yeah.
It doesn't. No, we understand that in the room.
Can I give you a little example just to connect to this?
Yep.
Okay, I'm driving. Yeah. Suddenly I am in collision with another car. What happens that time? As far as I know me, I won't be thinking at my level. I'll be thinking of physical shock, screaming, whatever,
Yeah.
breaking.
That's all you
I
can
don't
do.
know. I'll be probably hysterical.
Yeah.
We don't know how our body reacts. How do we then step back and say, okay, this is consciousness.
How does it work?
Okay, good. You're not.
How do I accept this situation?
Okay, you're not supposed to do that. That's got nothing to do with Atma.
That's what I need.
Atma stands independent. This is a different order of reality we're talking about. So how is the body going to respond? It's going to respond because Vyavaharika is the empirical transactional reality created by Ishvara. And you do not control this reality. This reality is a bunch of causes and effects. One thing happens, I respond innocently. Like I use the example, gunshot gets fired, we all jump, we all get scared, right? But we're all aware of that fear, right? So you can see there were two orders of reality. Two things happened. One, we were aware, but also because I was so scared. So obviously there was a principle of witness, but at the same time the body did something completely like a different order of reality. So these two orders of reality are always together. Okay?
Yes.
So the question is not supposed to be about how do I transact, because you're going to transact one way or another, right? Because now then we're stepping into what's dharma, right? How to properly react to situations.
All right.
React however you can react, right? Vedanta doesn't care how you react. That's the point. Because how you react is a mithya order of reality, vyavaharika. Your job is to be simply conscious, as you already are, that despite the reactions, I am awareness of the reactions. So you see these two orders, they're constantly satya mithya, they have a constant relationship together. Okay, so once again, let's go to the car. What do I do when I react? Nothing. What can I say about it? That was totally out of anyone's control. You reacted. It was your right to react. But does that touch satyam? Does that touch awareness?
No.
Why not?
You got a choice of reaction.
No choice.
I think
Yeah.
all we could say is, because you've been studying Vedanta,
Yeah.
that the mind has been trained
Yeah.
to step back in those sorts of situations and not behave or
Yes.
reacting.
Stage 4.
They don't behave in different ways. We're trying to say that it's Brahman is somehow in your life now, and therefore I'm going to behave like this different. I guess it's really now the body has, the mind and the body has been trained,
Okay.
so it is different in that way.
Even that takes practice, you see. Now
It
we're going
does.
to the class, but we need to practice it every second or every minute of the day, having this awareness all the time.
Yeah.
In what we
That's
perform,
what
what
it's
we
all about.
what we even open our mouth
But
and say to
before
somebody else.
Vedanta, you would react
So
according
then
to
the car situation would be obviously completely a little bit different than what would have normally happened.
Before Vedanta, you would react according to your conditionings.
Well, we don't
After
know.
Vedanta, you would react according to your conditionings.
Super.
Yeah.
But what happens is that the
If you don't have
difference is
Vedanta,
Go on.
the difference is that the reaction is not compulsive after Vedanta, and you don't, as you come around to the same thing again and again and again, as things tend to go around in your life, and if you're before Vedanta, you're just doing compulsive reactions and causing chaos, whatever it is that you do. After Vedanta, because you're aware of what's happening, your conditioning has actually changed. So you're still reacting according to conditioning.
Practice, yeah. Because it's like doing CPR. For the first time you taught how to do CPR, it's not going to come instantly when you need to do a CPR next time.
No,
unless you practice it every day,
of course.
It becomes like driving a car. It becomes automatic. So the secret to it is that practice.
Yeah,
then
it is.
An accident will be very difficult.
Because we spend so many years just constantly reacting to it. Suddenly we're now saying, step back from it and just witness it.
And that's a good example, because there's two sides of that kind of a response. Is your emotions, which would be emotionally attached to that situation and feeling, and the confusion in your thoughts when you're first time doing it. Every time you do it, you register those emotions and those thoughts, and they become settled in both cases. So eventually you would just see the situation and just go through the motions.
Yeah, and is it okay for us to, we react, and then obviously we step back and then look at the reaction, what happened, and we're not like unpleased with it or displeased with it, and we say, okay, what can we do better? How can we react in this situation? Is that part of Vedanta understanding too? That is, isn't it? I mean, like, we're studying Vedanta and we're saying, okay, why did you let it affect my body?
That's self-inquiry,
Yeah. So it's okay to do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not necessarily that moment, but follow up.
You do it all day.
You see, if you, for example, practice something before the crisis, then it's much likely that what you practice is going to stay throughout the crisis. So it's good to practice in normal day-to-day situations. How do you do this? Just by constantly being, putting your attention back onto your own awareness. Okay? Constantly putting it back onto your awareness. It's actually, even when I say this, there's a dualistic aspect to what I'm just saying now. Because to say that I need to practice, right, the problem gets established. That means I'm not already Atma, I'm not already Brahman. So this is not even about practicing, it's just about getting to the point where I can accept no matter what happens in this world belongs to the world of Mithya. And it doesn't matter how I react, what happens, with whomever it happens, for how long it happens, it all belongs to the world of Mithya. And I am free from this person who is undergoing these circumstances. So you see what happens? There's a detachment from this person. And automatically these reactions don't come up. Because these reactions only come up as long as I believe the I is this one who's going through these experiences. So this just identifies that there's still association with the I is still associated with the body-mind. This is why I keep saying this is a matter of accepting no matter what thought I have, for how long it is, no matter how depressed I get, how limited I get, how confused I get, it still doesn't touch the fact that I exist. I exist throughout the joys, I exist throughout the sorrows, I exist throughout the reactions, I exist throughout no reactions, I exist throughout sleep. I exist. That is what's common. Always put your attention back onto your mere existence, which you cannot deny. Do you exist right now? Simply ask yourself, do I exist? Yes. Do I exist? Yes. Do I exist? Yes. Do I exist? That's what we're talking about. Accepting that your existence is it. There's nothing after that. If you can accept that, that's moksha. Right? See how easy it is?
Yeah.
Like, who do I need to tell now? Hey, did you know you exist? You exist? Huh? You think, what's wrong with you? Actually, you know that you exist way better than I can explain to you, right? You actually know that you exist much better than any scripture in the universe can tell you. That existence is what we're talking about. That's you.
Yeah. So your reaction to situations will change drastically once you follow that path.
Yes.
And that's why it's so important not to beat yourself up because you didn't think you did well in a situation because you've been to Vedanta and you should have known better and you should have done better. You can't think like that because you're just going to accept yourself for what you are as you do it, but be aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thank you. I got my answer.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm getting a lot more clarity.
Good.
When I keep, I probably ask the same question.
Doesn't matter.
But I get more clarity on exactly what I need to focus on, and that confusion is getting less.
See this? This is you. See the sun? The sun represents consciousness. All changes happen in consciousness. All activity, mind, reaction, this, that, it's endless. All happen, and this is you. We identify with the constant changes of the body-mind, and we constantly suffer because of those changes. So it's just about changing your focus from the constantly changing to the non-changing, which is aware of the changes. So this picture just gives it away.
Thank you.
Yeah, simple affirmation, I exist.
Is that a sort of reinterpretation of the Om sign? Is that the Om sign?
Yes.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this represents changes, the mithya,
yeah.
and this represents satya. So it's just one simple symbol, and it gives it away.
We should get that as a tattoo.
Very good.
Now, I just need a little bit of one little inch of clarity, I think, with this reflection of the world we see is the reflection of our thoughts.
Absolutely, mirror reflection. In psychology says the same.
When you talk about the reflection of the world, is it what we think in our thoughts and looking out, or is it what we see in the world news and in the world, what's happening, wars here, wars there? What exactly?
Okay.
That's the clarity I need.
Okay, example. Let's suppose that you have a child, a small grandchild, and the grandchild is playing with his toys. You want her toys or his toys?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, with his toys. Lego toys. And a sister comes along, she's 1 year older, and she wants to retaliate for him hitting her an hour earlier. And so she destroys his creation. And he's mad, right?
That's all the time.
He's mad. And he just made like a simple, like a house. You know, you can do this like in 10 seconds, make a house. And the child goes to his mom and goes, she destroyed my house. And then and the boy grabs you by the hand, to show you. That's what they usually do. Look at this, my creation's destroyed. And you look at this and you go, well, how do you go? Oh no. You kind of try to, have empathy. Oh no. But is your reaction the same as the boys? So the boys looks at it very personally. It looks at this creation, this world, very differently than your standpoint being detached. See how it is? It's the same destruction, but because I'm detached, I don't have so many feelings towards it. That's the only difference between seeing the world in a form of it's all different. It's all forms. If a form has existence, I will care a lot. If I know that form depends on existence, which I am, then the form can do whatever it wants. It doesn't affect me. This is why the perspective changes. Because before I saw existence in my wife, in my child, in joys, in cars, in houses, and it had an independent existence of itself. But now I realize that existence and this existence of this body are both me. Right? So the relationship changes. It goes back to Satya-Mithya relationship. That's what I'm talking about, perspective changes. So I still see the same thing, right? I still see the person injured.
Different angle.
But I'm able to respond differently because I'm not so caught up in the situation. Simple example. Okay, you want to go through it? Just 1 minute. Imagine you're a father. I think we'll use a mother this time. Imagine you're a mother and your son went to the school. Okay? And you just got a call and the teacher said, somebody fell from the third building, from the third floor, and we think it's your son. Right? We think it's your son. Looks like your son for sure. How are you going to respond? My God, it's going to get a shock, right? Like very, this total freezing. And then, can you think in that situation? Hardly. You can't think. All fear, like the worst kind of fear, the worst kind of feeling just comes over, especially as a mother. My son is dead. Okay, so I'm totally paralyzed now. And then, 5 minutes later, I get a call and say, it's not your son. Then what happens? Instant relief. Instantly, I can now think objectively. What can I do? What can I do to help? What are the next action steps? Who was it? I wonder, what hospital? Instantly, my mind is now clear. Before, it was caught up because I took it personally. I was attached to the object. So the world, in the form of that person, was enacting responses which prevented me from having intelligent reaction. This is the danger of attachment. Now, I am no longer, bounded by this attachment, and instantly I can think clearly. Instantly I see the same situation in a different way. That's the clarity I'm talking about, the perspective change. So it comes by detachment. And how does detachment come? By disidentifying with the wave, identifying with the water. That's our problem. We're constantly identified with different ways in our life. And because of that, we can't think. Because when there's an attachment, there's emotion. When there's emotion, intellect comes down. This is called a psychological rule. High emotion, low intellect. High intellect, low emotion. So attachment causes constant high emotion because we're invested into preservation of it for my own survival, for my own existence. And that suppresses me from thinking, what I should do with my life. I'm too attached to this. So the perspective change happens when I'm able to see that little by little that I am Chaitanya Swarupa. I am consciousness. My nature is consciousness and not this person. Because think about all the things in life that we're attached to. To whom are those things attached to? To the body-mind. But if I'm dissociated from the body-mind, then I'm able to think clearly. Atma is able to now function through a body-mind that is disassociated from its parents, from its brother, from its sister. It's the same Atma functioning before, and now the same Atma still functioning through the body-mind. The only thing that happened is the intellect got educated. This is where moksha is, in the intellect. The intellect got educated and its knowledge is now aligned with reality. Reality being I am, the whole. And the ahamkara owns that knowledge of being aligned with reality. Thus the ahamkara is now functioning in line with the absolute and not in line with false notions which were there before Vedanta. So the ahamkara is still functioning for the wise person, but the ahamkara is what? That principle which owns the knowledge in the intellect. So the intellect has knowledge that I am separate, then the ahamkara is going to say, I am apart from you. More for me, less for you. If I educate the intellect, which is where all this knowledge is going into the intellect, and I say in the intellect, now the knowledge is, the reality of me is the same reality of the whole. The reality of the microcosm is the reality of the macrocosm. The ahamkara owns that experience, that knowledge, and then the I is no longer standing apart. The I is now, when the person says I, which is still the ego, which is still the ahamkara, it's aligned with reality as it is.
What I like about that is that sort of symbolises the wheel, and we do go through all of those different three entities as we through our life. Yeah. But if you look at the central point there, the hub, that's the still point. That's the bit that doesn't move. That's the bit that watches everything else.
That's good you pointed that out, actually. It always reminds me of good stuff. This in the center, you know what is this? The symbol for, like a wise one, okay, remember yellow is satya, and black is ignorance. Why is it covered? What does this imply? It's a symbol for Atma. Meaning what? Atma is actually, its Swarupa is Brahman, but it's seemingly covered by Maya. But it's not actually covered, because it's free. So we identify with this and we go, oh, poor me. But actually, I am Brahman. So this Atma represents that the Jiva whether ignorant or not, is actually Atma.
So in the dream, which is different from this living world, are there consequences in the dream? Like if you tell me, you have
I hope not. No.
So why is that? Because that's also a conscious state, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I suppose the only consequences could be is if you bring your knowledge of the dream back into your awakened state, and then start doing actions based on the dream that you brought into the
that
awakened
can
state.
happen. Yeah.
Well, if you have a bad dream, you sweat.
Yeah.
but
Dreams.
it depends whether you carry it with you into your awakened state of being.
Okay, dreams are very interesting. You can use dream analysis for working on personality, because when consciousness, Brahman, is seemingly identified with sthula, the sukshma sharira, we call that a dreamer. Okay? So the reason why you have dreams is because they are revealing your karana sharira. Right? That's why your dreams are always personal to you. All the tendencies we have in this life, in this waking, are also in the dream, are they not? Mm. So the dreams reveal subconscious or deeply, deep hidden gems, deep hidden behaviors, and so they can be used to decipher or to help us to learn about our own behavior. I had just a dream. Did you? Okay, actually, I'm going to say that. If you remember your dreams, if you have clear vision, I have clear vision of the dreams, but if you have clear vision of your dreams, you will realize that how you respond in this waking is exactly how you respond in your dream. If you have clear vision or memory of your dreams, exactly the same. And sometimes what happens is we respond differently in the dream, right? And we go, wow, that was surprising. But if you wake up and you remember, you go, wow, that was surprising. Why did I do that? That reveals there are some impulses, there are some vasanas, right, in the karana sharira that are still compelling me to respond in a rather kind of an adharmic way, or way that's quite surprising. So that means I can work on that in this waking state. A waking state is the only reliable, consistent state where moksha is possible. The dream is too bendable. There's no stability in the dream. You can't, if I hold this in a dream, it's going to instantly transform into a cat. And I don't have enough time to stop and contemplate about my existence in the dream. So the only state that we have for moksha is this, because there's stability here in this waking state. That means cherish your waking state, because that's where all of the work happens. You can't do anything in the dream. Only see your dormant, inherent tendencies, which you can then use to fix in the waking.
And that's interesting, because before we talked about the bliss state being in the deep sleep part where there's no dream, no wake, no dream, and that bliss state made you wake up, really reviewing that part. To try and get that back into the waking state is where we're really trying to get to.
Okay, we'll now talk about why is it, quotes, I'll put it in quote, I'm not going to say directly bliss. Why is dream, why is deep sleep? Forget about dreams now. Let's talk about deep sleep. By the way, have I answered your question about dream?
Yeah.
Can I move on? Or okay.
Because in deep sleep state you do not recall anything.
Huh?
You're not aware of anything in deep sleep.
In deep
When
sleep.
you wake up, you're aware that you have deep sleep, but you're not aware what happened in deep sleep.
Yeah, deep
So I
sleep.
won't call it bliss. It's just a state of unknown.
We call it. We generally like to sleep, right? We generally like to sleep. We don't say, when we say sleep, we're not referring to dreams. I'm going to go and dream. Nobody says that. When we say sleep, we're talking about dreamless state. We're talking about sleep. So obviously there's a reason for its liking. The reason is because in deep sleep, all your life problems are gone. Right? And all life problems belong to the sukshma sharira. Even the sthula sharira, if there's physical pain, did you actually notice, I'll go back down to the dream now for a second. Did you notice that physical pain disappears in the dream?
In the dream.
Why? Because there is no physical body in the dream. You actually don't have a physical body in the dream. However, not only does physical pain disappear and the life disappear in deep sleep, right? They both disappear in deep sleep. At least in the dream, I could, be aware of my thoughts. But in deep sleep, now I'm going back to deep sleep now, I can't even be aware of my thoughts. Why? Who's that I that is aware of thoughts? Ahamkara. Right? So the ego, so doer enjoyer is not in deep sleep. So there's nobody to own the absence of objects, the absence of life in the deep sleep. Because life belongs to the Sukshma Sharira, to the subtle body. So there's no principle left in deep sleep to go, wow, this is quite amazing, to be free of objects. Now, because our life is gone in deep sleep, that's why we like deep sleep, right? Because there's nothing limiting us. That's why sleep feels limitless.
But surely the liking or the feeling of wanting to sleep, that is you're only aware of that, perhaps just when you're going to sleep or waking up. Because during it, as you say, you've got no mind to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's when I'm waking up that I feel, I just want to stay here. Let me stay here for a bit more,
Yeah.
So that's when the subtle body is aware of that.
That's why I want to go sometimes back to sleep, right? Because you want to get rid of your life again.
Yeah, and then it's sort of like I usually say, don't open the blinds. I hope I don't need to go to the toilet. I just want to stay in this sleep as long as possible.
Yeah,
as soon as something is too loud or something bright, and it's pulling me back
your
to
senses
the world.
are focusing, the senses start operating.
Yeah, start operating, externalizing, limiting to the objects.
Yeah.
This is what we call videha. So videha muktaha, that means liberated even after death, can be equated, this is of course not exactly, so don't look at this directly, can be equated to deep sleep. Deep sleep is considered 2/3 enlightened. You know why 2/3? Okay, the 2/3 is because there's no life. But what about the other third? Well, why is it not fully enlightened in deep sleep? Because the other third is vasanas, the causal body is covering direct recognition of Atma in deep sleep. Because all in deep sleep is just what? Potential. Unexpressed potential. This potential is what we give the name to as Ananda. Because think about why, okay, now you're going to ask, why is potential Ananda, right? Why is potential blissful? Because there's nothing to say about it. It hasn't been expressed nor unexpressed. But it's still there. The potential is still interfering from direct knowledge of the self. That 1/3 is the reason why we don't know about our experience in deep sleep. In Nirvikalpa Samadhi, this is why some will try to achieve like breathlessness. The state of breathlessness in yoga is to replicate the deep sleep while knowing directly about the in this case you can say absolutely the enormity, the absolute limitless of Brahman, of self. So some people get attached to this and they go, wow, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, everything. And I've had some Nirvikalpa twice. There was a breathlessness. You just stop breathing. You've got to get your body in a very subtle, tuned state. And monks do this all the time, actually. It takes a long time to practice. And I can tell you, it is just, there's no words in any language that comes to the amount of bliss, of pure awareness, just pure, untainted awareness.
So you can't hold on to it.
What do you mean?
That.
You can't hold on to because the mind's going to come back eventually. So this pure awareness is, you could say it's a good comparison to videha mukti. So now you say, what the hell would I want to come back to earth? Right? Because coming back to earth is extremely limiting.
So there's some difference to meditation and this, the bliss and meditation. while people do meditation, they say that they get a glimpse of blissness and everything like that.
They get the glimpse of Atma.
Yeah, that's it. Nirvikalpa Samadhi.
Yeah.
But you got to stop because breathing also interrupts the prana. So you got to slow everything down.
Not stop. You slow everything down.
Slow everything down, not stop it. I think the heart beats like once every minute or something.
Oh.
It still does beat. Ramana Maharshi
A lot of
also.
yogis do that.
Yeah, Ramana Maharshi was walking with his friend, and his friend was describing one of his Paul Burton. Paul, what's his name? Who writes about Ramana?
Bronton.
Huh?
Brenton.
That's the one. He was. Someone was walking with Ramana, and Ramana suddenly stopped. He sat down, and he sat cross-legged, and he totally looked like dead, right? And his friend checked his pulse. There was nothing, totally nothing. So it's possible. You can just spontaneously get into a nirvikalpa samadhi. Yeah. But it's not necessary because you eventually, like Martin said, you can't hold on to it. You get out of it, and all that happens is now I've got an extra problem. Now I go, oh my God, I want to go back there. So I spend my whole life now trying to replicate what I got. Right? But it's a good, it's actually a good pointer because once one gets a direct taste of it through nirvikalpa, they go, oh my God.
It's a good healer, isn't it?
Nothing comes close. Huh?
It's a healing.
Huh?
If you can control your breath.
If you can control it, yeah.
It's
And
a
slow
good
down the
healing,
mind.
healing system for your body.
Yeah, and concentrate for a long time.
So who wakes you up from a deep sleep?
Ishvara. Ishvara, because Ishvara is the cause of all of the entire creation. So Ishvara creates a waking state, creates the dream state, and creates the deep sleep state. And creates a deep sleep state for a reason, of course, to rejuvenate the body, and also to help the person not go sane. Because if there was constantly life, if there was nothing but waking state and dream state, imagine how we would never get a break. It would be constant activity, and we would probably go insane, right? So this deep sleep is like a reward for all creatures, not just humans. Also insects sleep, fish sleep with their eyes open, of course, but they still sleep. And so everyone gets to resolve back to their Chaitanya Swarupa in sleep, or at least get a glimpse of it.
It's a bit like a replication of life and death, waking and sleeping and waking on a daily basis.
On the macrocosmic scale. So also like Brahman, wakes up and then suddenly you got the world. And then all these objects and all these people are in this world. And then suddenly someone says, well, I kind of got enough of this world. I'm just going to, go back from whence, I'm going to, recognize my true nature as Brahman. And that's what we call the spiritual path, the 4 stages that we talked about here. Otherwise, it all resolves back anyway. But the problem is if one doesn't, if one just keeps going and says, no, I'm going to get taken care of automatically, then the journey is not going to be taken care of for them. They have to do it themselves. Right? So it's up to you. No one can do it for you. So there's no break here. There's no way out except for me to do it myself. That's why this is so important. Anything else?
Yes. I had a funny, might be like an inverse of what Madhu was asking. I remember last week we had the question of how there's something blocking the knowledge of Atman. And just this week I'm thinking, well, sometimes Atman, there's that Atman feeling, whatever. Don't analyse that one.
But
and if you're just doing something simple, walking or doing yoga or something like that, and you go, all right. But then you have to do something more complex, like organise a party or I'm organising something on Saturday, and it's almost like I sort of notice there's this thing that's happening where I'm going, all right, now I've got to borrow that awareness. Sort of transfer that awareness into the ahamkara, because only the ahamkara knows how to run things properly. I can't just rely sort of as a puppet on atma awareness. I've got to sort of transfer that to
You've got to
the
connect up.
current.
Conscious
And it
transference.
yeah, right. So there is a word for it, and then knowing, just sort of knowing that, it sort of resolved that as a thing, as a problem. So yeah,
You know, this is stage 3, right? Where you begin to sort of, you know, take a stand in awareness, but it's very slow. It's a very slow, gradual process. And on the beginning, we need to sort of personally, you know, take conscious effort and to consciously stand in awareness.
yes.
Because what happens is we get the world, the mind, so extroverted that it, as you say, apparently obstructs the awareness. And the only way to make awareness consistent, right, Atma consistent, irrespective of how complicated your task is by, okay, you tell me how.
Just have a little bit of awareness of the awareness, is it?
But how often? No, okay. How often would you do that?
Well, ideally constantly. You know, you'd be doing the most complex. You could be like an air traffic controller or something like that, and you know, you'd worried about people crashing and dying and stuff like that. But there'd be just that little bit of knowledge that I have. The Atman is the awareness of me knowing about the people and the planes. And
there's a flaw with this thinking because okay, we need to split this into
separating the Atman from you.
The flaw is don't call awareness. Okay, your only job is to know I am always awareness. Whether I call it or not, I cannot help myself but to be awareness because I'm even aware of calling awareness. Are you not aware of that?
Yeah.
Of course, that's why you're telling me now. So that means obviously you were aware when you were calling awareness. Okay, your job is to see everything as Ishvara. Remember Karma Yoga? That's the attitude, how we act in the world. Dedicating all actions to higher, to that which is higher than this person. And what I mean by higher, that which is the author, the creator of not only these limbs which are doing the complicated task, but also the object with which these limbs are transacting with. Okay, so this is your sadhana, to see everything as Ishvara and see how that's the case. Because this you can do constantly, 24/7, right? I can now be speaking to you and, you know, going, wow, you know, Ishvara is taking on a nice suit called David, you know, and then Ishvara is, you know, taking on a nice suit called color. But if I kind of go, you know, I'm awareness, it defeats the purpose. Because you're creating a problem and you're solving the problem simultaneously. Number one, you're saying, I am awareness, but the other hand, you're saying, I am not awareness. You know why? Because just by me calling, I need to borrow from awareness, implies I am not awareness. So I'm not actually doing anything. I am helping, but I'm negating the help, but by my implication that it's not already true right now. Okay, this is a huge mistake that happens.
And you're trying to conceptualize awareness and perform a form.
You could use that as a pointer.
As a pointer.
Yeah, and then go, all right, you've returned back to the self.
That's right, as a pointer. Yeah. But not constantly, please, because this is going to extremely... Moksha does not happen like this. Okay, this is Neo-Advaita world, where we kind of go, I'm awareness, bring it into this now. You just act with a normal attitude, with Karma Yoga spirit. Your job to understand this is by listening to the knowledge, contemplating on how that's true outside your work. Because you need full processing CPU power to contemplate on this. See, while I'm doing activity, my mind is what? Rajasic. And the Rajas is not suitable for comprehension and assimilation of self-knowledge. I need a sattvic mind. So trying to get and understand this, like knowledge, how I am Atma, how I'm awareness, while I'm doing a complicated task, that's like covering the mind with the Rajas and then expecting to get it, but you can only get it while the mind is sattvic, while the mind is clear. So this means you need to perform your actions with a Karma Yoga attitude, and this knowledge has to be done in a very, very isolated environment, which we call contemplation, self-inquiry. Look at Ramana. He spent 10 years in a cave. People think he just got the epiphany when he faked his death. Who's the one that's still alive and aware of his death? No, he took that epiphany and he went to the cave for 10 years inquiring about that epiphany. This is what I call constant, unceasing effort, uninterrupted by worldly activity. Worldly activity equals karma yoga. Contemplation, self-knowledge, has nothing to do with being interrupted by the world. You have to see them differently. See, this is why we prescribe karma yoga. Why? For the doer, for the doing mind, for the doing ego, for doing ahamkara. Jnana yoga for contemplating, assimilating, meditating exclusively on this knowledge. It's just like having a CPU, right? You have 5 applications, and a CPU, as soon as it goes 20%, the CPU gets loud. And everything else slows down. And you get really agitated by trying to work in a program while the CPU is busy. So you need to close all these applications down so you have 100% CPU just for knowledge.
I think the other thing...
So hang on, I guess so you're saying that karma yoga is a lifelong practice as well. It's not a stepping stone to jnana yoga.
Karma yoga you will always practice because everything is Ishvara, right?
Yeah,
so
that's part of the nididhyasana.
Yeah, karma yoga is without a stain.
Yeah.
Without stopping.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you can't stop. If I see myself as the whole, how can I suddenly stop doing karma yoga? Because karma yoga says everything is the whole.
So actually, I was watching Buddha, life of Buddha, and one point where Buddha actually gives up food, and then he gives up water, and then he actually collapses. So this lady brings him food and says, "We need to eat food to get the enlightenment, to let the brain work." So we are in the body and mind. So to work with the Atma, understanding all this, we need to, you need to be
clear.
The right things.
You need food. You need, you need
basic
focus.
things, basic.
And he actually came across a stream, and there was a stream that anyone could cross easily, like any child could cross easily. And he was so suffocated and so hungry that he couldn't. He looked at the stream, he couldn't cross it. He says, "How am I supposed to cross the ocean of samsara if I cannot even cross this little stream?" And then he realized, well, obviously I need strength, right? And I cannot get the strength if I'm consumed with worldly complex activity, right? The strength comes when I'm isolated and assimilating this knowledge alone by myself. There's no exceptions to this. Karma yoga is with everyone. You can do that with everyone you want. But jnana yoga by yourself.
Yeah.
So let's not mix them together.
Oh, that was my next question. Can you be doing something, that's not a complex, like shaving, for example? And
it's still karma yoga.
Yeah, but so I can. I could, I've shaved 10,000 times. So I've got some CPU left over.
Still karma yoga. No, still karma yoga.
I think the thing is, we're so hardwired to try and conceive of things, and get a concept in our brain and say, "Yep, got it now. That's it. I know I'm doing it." And we can do that with pretty every level on that chart, from the gross body right through to the subtle body and even to the causal body. We can give it a form or some description, whether it's a thought form or emotional form or some way of being able to get a concept of it. The one thing you can't get a concept of is awareness.
Yeah, because it's always okay. It's like this, because he always once again. So just imagine your eye right now. See, the only way your eye can see is because the eye can't see itself, right? So that means your visual cannot see the cause of the visual, right? The visual can only see effects, but it can never see the origin, which provides the capacity for the awareness of sight. So that means the visual can only understand that there must be an origin that makes this world possible. And that origin, despite not being able to see it or objectify it, it must be there. And that which must be there is me, awareness. Similarly, just like I see this world, right, I can never see myself. But I can say the fact that I'm seeing this world has to mean that there is a awareness principle because of which allows me to see this world non-stop. And that awareness, despite not being able to grasp it, or own it, or objectify it, just like an eye cannot see itself, the eye can only understand that it must be indeed the source which provides the ability to see all things. Similarly, your job is not to try to call awareness, just like an eye cannot call, the physical eye. It can only understand it already is the physical eye. You already are that awareness. So there's no need to call it or to borrow it. Only understand that I'm already it. I can't help it. Right? I'm already existence. I exist. That existence, whether you call existence or whether you don't call existence, guess what? You still exist. So you actually haven't done anything. You still exist. That existence is who you are. So you cannot call more existence, can you? Can you exist more than you already exist? Right? So what's the point of trying to call awareness? Because awareness is existence. Right? Sat Chit. Existence, Chit, awareness. So that means this has got nothing to do with bringing more existence into my life, and everything to do with just accepting that I exist. Period.
I think maybe when I'm aware of seeing cities come here, as in I'm not aware of what's happening in my house.
Yeah, the body's not aware.
Yeah, so is that really like? So you're aware of it, but not that. So you're aware of something happening, but then there's something else happening behind you which you're not aware of.
No, it's a different subject.
When you look at this person, you're not getting it.
I thought that you were trying to say a simple task is okay, but when it's a complex task, I need to put more awareness into my task.
Yeah. So
that's what I was.
It was a sort of like it was a faulty. What I was pointing out is a faulty sort of thought. I realised it was faulty, but it was just a funny step that was happening that I'm like,
don't mix up awareness and intellect.
I think you put more thought into it, not so much with awareness.
Yeah.
I think you put a lot of thought and raising thoughts too.
Yeah.
Come like 1,000 thoughts in one go. How do I organize this party? Kind of thing. Yeah.
I wrote on the page that we're not happy with just existing. On the About Me page, I wrote, we humans are not happy with just a simple existence of ourselves. We always want something other than our existence. But we don't realize that we can only want because we exist. Right? If we don't exist, there's nobody to want anything. So that means our existence, your existence comes first. And you need to accept existence is all there is to it. You exist. Just say, I exist. And that I exist is also going to exist once this form dies. Right? So it's just being okay that all there is to this is your existence. It's not about emotions or feelings or thoughts. It's not about it. That's a different order of reality. Right? And that's happening to everyone. Everyone's got to deal with their stuff. But you exist, just like I exist. I can't exist more than you. I exist more than you, man. How? I mean, even if I say that, right? You still exist.
Maybe
and I still exist.
Eat more, way more.
That's an argument you can't have, right? I exist more than you. No, man. But we still exist to be having this argument. Who exists more, right? We still exist. So existence is just existence. There's nothing to it. So start to love the fact that I exist. This is where your joy comes. In going, oh my God. That which is primary is already here as my existence. It's proven in the fact that I exist. That's all there is to it. Right? Oh my God. And this existence is actually eternal. This existence is Brahman. I'm free already because I exist. This is it. This is Marshall.